Madison and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to your unpopular bookish opinions. So today on Instagram I put like a little Q&A out and asked you guys what your most unpopular bookish opinions are, and I'm going to be reacting to them right now. I've only seen like a couple of them when I was just checking to see that there was like enough responses to do a video. But I saw some and I was like, oh, dropping the tea here, aren't we? Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous because I saw some that are questionable. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna go through them all right now. I'm a bit terrified, okay. Whew. So first we have someone saying that rating books is hard. I don't think that's that unpopular. I feel like unless a book is 5 stars or like 1 star, it's actually kind of hard to rate a book because you're like, is it a 4? Is it a 3? Like sometimes I spend ages trying to figure out like what to rate a book, so that's not that bad. Someone else says The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was really boring. I haven't read it, but I've had a lot of people say that. Like, I feel like people either really loved Addie LaRue or people were like, it was super mediocre. I don't know, I keep putting it off because people say that if there is gonna be a Schwab that I enjoy, it probably will be Addie LaRue, so still considering it. Someone said all of the Grishaverse books are not for me. That's fair enough. You know, that's not that. I feel like people are either 50-50. If you read Grishaverse like way back when you're a hardcore fan like I am, you love them. But then there are people who read them more recently. And I mean, those that, they were written so long ago, not everything stands up to the test of time, you know? Men can't write gut-wrenching rom-com books because they're emotionally stunned. That's just funny. That's just funny. Whew. Spanish Love Deception didn't live up to the hype. I've heard that actually. I've heard that from a lot of people. I haven't picked it up yet. It just seems a bit too long. I didn't like Things We Never Got Over. Knox was acting way too childish for his age. Oh, that's tea because I'm about to pick that book up soon. That's the book by Lucy Score with like the blue cover and like little dandelions on it. I'm reading that soon, so hopefully I don't think he's too childish. Now this is the one that I saw when I was scrolling through and I was like, that is tea. This person says the smut in SJM books is boring. Look, Sarah J Maas smut is not meant to be the same as smut in other books. I don't go into Sarah J Maas. To be quite honest, I never read Sarah J Maas for the smut. I read it because I like her fantasy books and I like her fantasy worlds. Does she write good smut? It's fine smut, like it's good smut for a fantasy romance that is not primarily smut. You know, like I don't think of Sarah J Maas as smut, I think of her as like a fantasy romance author who has sexy scenes in her books. Like her books, apart from A Court of Silver Flames, which is like a lot of sexy stuff was going on in there, which I thought was actually well written. That's not like the primary purpose of her books, but that is kind of tea, to be honest with you. Have I read better smut? Yeah, from romance authors, but that's not where her like primary, like that's not where she comes from. So like, I'm not a fan of Q.B. Tyler, Colleen Hoover, or Gianna Darling. But that's funny. I feel like Q.B. Tyler and Gianna Darling are really huge bookstagram authors. Q.B. I've read. I've only read one of her books and I didn't love it, but that's because it was an amnesia romance. I don't like amnesia. I love Gianna Darling myself, but I do have other friends who don't like her. And Colleen Hoover's a mixed bag of nuts. You never really know what you're gonna get with Coho, to be quite honest with you. The Dirty Air series is not good. Their Formula One information is inaccurate. You know, I'm not surprised about that. I thought it was I didn't love them, but I had a lot of fun reading Lauren Ash's Dirty Air series. I thought they were super fun and just enjoyable Formula One books. You don't read a lot of like smutty F1 drivers, and you know, there are some F1 drivers out there who are super hot. But I also have no idea about anything technically accurate with Formula One, so I don't know when I'm reading it if anything is actually accurate. It's also a fictional book. Like, I doubt like most of the NHL and NFL and like all the sport romances are exactly 100% accurate either. You know, like things get changed because they're fictional books, you know? So that's like, I don't think that's unpopular. This person says ebooks are easier to read. I wouldn't think that's an unpopular opinion. I just think that differs. Like sometimes I do agree. Sometimes I think that easier books are ebooks. Ebooks are easier to read. Actually, maybe I do read Do I read faster on my Kindle? I personally think I read faster on my Kindle. I don't know why. I genuinely believe when I read on my Kindle, I read faster. Do I have any proven logic against that? No. Well, that's my belief. Most romance/smut novels reinforce negative stereotypes about men. Negative stereotypes? I don't think that romance smut novels reinforce negative stereotypes. I feel like things that would be negative stereotypes in men normally get romanticized in romance books. Like, you would never want to be with like an aggressive alpha hole in real life, but you read about it in a romance book and you're like, damn, he's attractive. So I think the opposite of that. So I get that. That's an unpopular opinion, I get that. These Violent Delights was not worth it. I also have not read that series yet because I've heard mixed things. I've heard people who really love that series and people who say it is not worth the hype. So I do think that it is an unpopular opinion to think it's not the hype, because a lot of people, a majority, I would say like 80% of people think that that series is worth the hype. I keep putting it off because I'm worried that I'm not gonna like it and then everyone's gonna get so mad at me, so I keep putting it off. I want to get to it, but we'll see. This other person says, I don't like groveling males in dark romances. I feel like you don't always see groveling guys in dark romances. I feel like sometimes, but not often. I feel like that doesn't always happen. I feel like they're not like the normal archetype that you see in dark romances. When the guy messes up in a romance book, everyone hates on them, but when the girl messes up, that no one ever hates on the girl. 50-50. I feel like it's not necessarily if a girl messes up that people get mad at them. I feel like people get mad at female heroines in books when they do dumb shit. Like, when it's quite obvious that the girl is like naive or acting childish, I feel like people don't attack male characters for acting childish, but they will attack female characters for acting childish. That's what I think. Is that unpopular? I don't know. This person says Thrown a Glass is better than Acritar. I mean, I agree, but I also like Thrown a Glass better. Like, I'm a huge Aelin stan. If people didn't know, I'm a huge Throne of Glass fan, so my opinion is permanently unpopular. I love the Throne of Glass series with my whole ass. This person says Anna Huang is overrated. Oh, that's unpopular. I love Anna Huang. I definitely can see it depending on like what other books you might have read, what you're kind of like into. Like, I think her books are really great, especially if you're just getting into like slightly darker romances, slightly smuttier romances. Like, she's a really great introduction author, especially to like the new adult smutty genre. Wow, there's one person did like 17, like there's a couple of people in here who gave me like 5 different unpopular opinions. Kudos to you dudes. Oh my God, there are 2 separate people who said this. I hate Ada from The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. That's so interesting. I will admit, when I first read Brutal Prince, I gave it, I think, a 3 out of 5 stars, and then I bumped it up later to a 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it initially, but initially it wasn't because of Ada that I disliked it. I actually disliked it because I thought Callum was childish, fun fact, which I think was actually in my Mafia vlog, but regardless. This person says Alex from The Devil's Night by Penelope Douglas is the worst female character ever. I haven't read that series, but that's interesting. I don't know if that's unpopular or not, but that's fun. Oh, I like this one. Okay. This person says, I think most sex scenes are boring and can be skipped. I am not ashamed to say, especially as someone who's a huge smut reader, I've skipped sex scenes before, especially if it's a book where like there's plot going on and then the author keeps throwing in them banging. I'm just like, I'm gonna skip these now because I'm actually interested in the plot. I don't need to read them banging for the 17th time. So I will admit, some sex scenes get a bit too long and I will skip some of them. I have no shame in admitting that. This person says dog earring pages is better. That is such an unpopular, like, I'm not even gonna stop. That is an unpopular AF opinion, bruh. Bruh. No, we don't know. You don't dog ear pages. That's a cardinal sin. That's a no-no zone. Dog-earing pages? Unless it's like a textbook. I've done it for textbooks before, but that's a different story. This person says poorly written sex scenes are worse than closed-door romances. I mean, you're not wrong. I'd rather read no sex scenes than a really shitty sex scene. Like, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Kingdom of the Curse was so bad. Is that the first one? Oh, I haven't read that one. That's the second one. I've only read Kingdom of the Wicked. I enjoyed it. Like a 3 out of 5 stars. But I'm excited to read Kingdom of the Cursed. I've heard really amazing things, so to hear you say that it was bad is definitely an unpopular opinion from like what I've gathered. I'm hoping I enjoy it. It's so funny because like I love the Stalking Jack the Ripper Quartet by Carrie Maniscalco, but I really, now that I think about it, this is the second Italian-based fantasy book that I've read that I didn't enjoy. Maybe it's because I am Italian, I'm like really picky, who knows. Leave spicy scenes to the middle of the book. I will admit, I don't like spicy scenes at the end. Like if the couple's been banging throughout the book, I don't really care to see them. Like, I hate when authors will end a book with a couple banging in the very last chapter. Like, that's how they end the book, with them banging for the last time. I'm like, I didn't need that. Like, they've been having sex throughout the entire book. Like, I don't need you to end the book with them. Like, I don't care at that point again. You know what I mean? So I get you. I get you. Ebooks are just as good as real books. I don't think that's unpopular, but that's like fair income, you know? The guy from Twisted Love is an entire red flag who needs to be pushed off a cliff into a quarry. That is so funny. I can see why you would say that, because the way that Anna Huang wrote Twisted Love is it follows a lot of the typical dark romance archetypes. So if you're not someone who has read really messed up dark romances, you would read Alex Volkov and think, this bruh is an entire red flag. Because yeah, in real life he probably would be. But I actually love this comment. I thought Alex was fine. I had no problem with him, but I'm also like a huge dark romance reader. So like my red flag ratio is like messed up, like, you know? Ooh, pregnancy trope slaps when the main characters are obsessed with each other before it happens. Yeah, I can see that. I'm so wishy-washy when it comes to the pregnancy trope. Like, the only time I don't like the pregnancy trope is when it happens and it serves as like a plot device around the time of the characters breaking up or taking a break or they get separated. Like, I hate it when it happens then, but I don't mind it otherwise. This person says, I like love triangles. I'm okay with love triangles. I read a lot of manga and manga always has love triangles in it. So I'm like 50-50. It depends. Love triangles depend. I don't like them in like single books. I like love triangles in like things that are like going to be 2 books or 3 books. Like, I feel like a love triangle, there's no point to it in like a single book because like it just serves as like a random plot device and no one ever gets fully developed. But when it's like longer, it's fine. This person says, Hades and Persephone retellings are getting out of hand. Please find other Greek myths. Hey, you know what? I actually haven't seen a lot of new Hades and Persephone Greek mythology retellings within like the last year. I would say end of 2019, the entirety of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 were rife with Hades and Persephone retellings. Like, they were everywhere. They've definitely died down, but they were everywhere. I agree with you there. Friends to lovers is seldom done right. They're always lacking in angst. I agree with you, actually. That might be, I don't know if that's unpopular, but I 100% agree with you. The only time I like friends to lovers is when there is angst. If friends to lovers doesn't have angst, it is so pointless. It is so pointless. I hate easy friends to lover romances. I'm like, ugh. No, there's no, where's the spice? Where's the taste? Where's the flavor? You need the angst for the flavor. 100% agree with you. There's no angst, it's a bust. Yeah, moving on. Someone says, audiobooks count as reading. Some people think that they don't, and that's lame. Audiobooks count as reading. I count them as reading. People who don't are being ableist, so. I hated My Killer Vacation. That seems unpopular. That's the new Tessa Bailey book. It's like a romantic suspense book that Tessa Bailey just put out. I have only seen people loving it and raving about it who are my friends. So to see someone who hated it is very interesting. That is town. This other person says Daisy Jones and the Six isn't that good. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that. I don't think that's that unpopular. This person hates the brother's best friend trope. I like it if it's done right. I don't like the brother's best friend trope where the girl acts like a literal 5-year-old the entire time. That pisses me off. I like when they're mature about the brother's best friend trope. I hate it when they're not. So that's 50-50. Like, I will never read like brother's best friends tropes in college romances. I haven't vibed with them in a minute because whenever they do that, the girl acts so naggy and needy the entire time. And I'm like, ugh. This is one of my friends who said this. I love non-HEA books. You do not! That does make sense with some of the books that I've seen you talk about. Bruh, you recommended me a book to read and now I'm terrified to read it. That book better have a... Oh my god, I'm terrified now. I didn't like the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. Why does that keep coming up? Why are people... You know what, I've seen a couple of people talk about it again recently. For me, it's so funny when I see Penelope Douglas's books like go through a resurgence because like I've seen her on like BookTube for years and years now, for like 6 years. And to see people like re-meeting, like finding out about her and like her having a resurgence is always like so crazy to me. But Oh, I didn't read that series. A lot of YA is set in high schools and it's so unrealistic. No one's life in high school is that exciting. I mean, unless you were the popular kid. I feel like the popular kids definitely had like some exciting shit that they did do. I have no idea what that was, but I know that they did do fun stuff. Romances with high school kids creep me out. Feels weird to read about. I agree with you. I've said it a couple of times recently where I'm fine reading about YA romances and they're teens, but I can no longer read new adult romances where they're teenagers in high school. I like new adult romances when they're set in college, because in my brain, new adult romance is 18 plus and you should be like either summer before college or going into college and being in college. I don't want to read a new adult smutty spicy romance where you're 17, 18 years old as like a senior in high school. That's a no-no zone. I can't read those anymore. How is this an unpopular opinion? Not everyone has read Harry Potter. I haven't read Harry Potter. Did I just call myself out? I read the first book and then I couldn't read the second one because I was terrified of, I watched the movies beforehand. I was terrified to continue reading the books. I actually remember I read the second book when I first visited the United States for the first time. That would have been like 2010. And I couldn't read the second book because the second movie scared me with the dead cat. So, fun facts. Anyway, that was really fun. I've never done that before. Let me know if you guys enjoyed that. That was really cool. It's like a different kind of vibe. I kind of wanted to have like a more sit down, chill talking video with you guys. I'm just trying to bulk film. I've got a lot going on in the month of July. So I was like just trying to come up with like fun ideas, and yeah, I've seen this video done a couple times and I wanted to do it. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this video and if you would like to see anything else that's kind of in the same vein. Any other questions that you think might be fun to ask, let me know down below in the comments. If you guys did enjoy this video, please like button down below. If you want to see more of me, please go to my channel. And until next time, thanks so much everyone. Bye bye.